Hello, and welcome to this, the first episode ever of Song a Day Spark, a podcast in which I, Jonathan Mann, talk about creativity and my Song a Day project and probably other stuff. You know how these first episodes go. I have no idea really what I'm going to do on this thing. Chances are, if you're listening to this, you're probably a fan of mine, so hopefully you want to keep listening. If you're not a fan of mine, you probably just want to turn this off, actually. Because, if you're not a fan of mine, then I don't think it'll be that interesting. So just turn it off. Go ahead. Or not. Or just keep listening, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you might like it. So, I guess it's up to you if you want to keep listening. But I hope you do, because I want to talk about something that I've been thinking about a lot. I don't really have a definitive position on this subject. It's a matter of creation for the sake of creation versus creation for the sake of sharing. And there's a distinction there, right? What I do every day, I make a song, good, bad, whatever, doesn't matter. I put it out into the world and I share it. And it's the act of sharing that is, it's very important to me, that act of making it and then sharing it and giving it to you to listen to and to judge and enjoy or not. If I didn't have that, I often wonder. So, say I was doing this in the 80s, and I was writing a song a day, and I didn't have all these wonderful ways to share it. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and so on, SoundCloud. Would I still do this? Would I still do Song a Day? And honestly, I'm not sure that I would. And that makes me slightly uncomfortable, because I do feel like there's something beautiful about creation for the sake of creation, not just those monks that they make those crazy designs in the sand, right? And then they make these beautiful, intricate, spend hours making these, and maybe days, I don't know. They do these crazy designs in the sand, and then the impermanence of all things, they just kind of like an Etch-a-Sketch, like a Mitt Romney Etch-a-Sketch. They shake the sand out, and there goes their beautiful, intricate art. So there's something very appealing to me about that, but that's really not the way I am. I have this desire, this innate desire to share what I make. I feel like a lot of people have that desire. I mean, we're social creatures, and connecting with our fellow human beings on many different levels is really kind of what it's all about, right? So, I guess those are the two sides of it, the beauty of impermanence versus our need to share things as social creatures. There's another aspect to this conversation, which is that there are often many different reasons that we do the things we do. Very, very seldom are our motives completely pure. So, with Song a Day, I've thought about this a lot also. I have, layers and layers and layers of motives for the reasons that I do this. Definitely one of them is because I enjoy the act of creation. Pure and simple. I'm happiest when I'm making songs, actually. Especially when it's going well. But really, even when I'm just doing it, just having made something, making it and having made something makes me happy, period. So that's one motivation. Another motivation is definitely that I want to share it. Those two motivations, I don't know if they cancel each other out. I think they can exist simultaneously within me, those two motivations, and they do. There's a motivation to be recognized. Not necessarily to be famous, but I have to, if I'm honest with myself, I want people to hear my work, and I want them to be like, yeah, that guy's good. So that's another motivation. I want to get better. I want to get better at what I'm doing. That's a fourth. How many are we at now? I think that's a fourth motivation. So there's all these motivations, swirling around inside my brain and my body as I go about my act of creation every single day. And yeah, I guess I'm just wondering what you think. You, dear listener, do you, when you create things, do you create for the purpose of sharing? Do you create for the pure joy of creating? Is it some kind of amalgam of all the things that I just said? I'm curious. So that's one thing that I wanted to talk about. And I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot more. Another thing, I had this idea for a segment called Good Song, Bad Song. So let's listen to my theme song for this. Good song, bad song. Good song, bad song. Is it a good song or a bad song? I don't know. So the basic idea for this segment is that it's hard to know what's a good song and what's a bad song when you're writing a song a day. Maybe this isn't true for other people. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But for me, it's definitely true. I just sit here and make my song every single day. Most days when I'm feeling good and I'm on a roll and I'm putting some effort, into the song, I don't think it's a bad song, obviously, when I'm making it. Maybe a week later when I go back and listen to it, I'm like, ooh, that was not a very good song. But generally, unless some days I sit down and I start making something, I'm like, oh my god, this is awful, and then I just keep going and I just finish it, because that's what song a day is about sometimes. But most of the time when I'm making a song, I'm like, this is a good song. It's turning out. And sometimes I'm working on a song like, holy crap, this is an awesome song. This song is, this song is amazing. This is turning out so well. So, I know what I think, and then there's another whole layer of, like, if I go back and listen to songs, like I said, some songs will go back and listen to that I liked and now I hate, and some songs will go back to that I hated and then suddenly I like them. I wrote this one song once called "I'm Trying to Write a Bad Song." Let's listen to that real quick. Trying to write a bad song. It's not very good. It should be not very good. Trying to write a bad song. Trying. It should be easy to write a bad song. It should be easy to do everything wrong. It should be easy to write a bad song. It should be easy to do everything wrong. So trying. Everything wrong, and it's short. And people really like that song, which I think is really strange to me. It's, I guess it's okay, but it's just so funny to me that I actively set out to write something bad and people like it anyway. So that's there's this whole other side of things, which is, a good song or a bad song from my perspective, but from your perspective, from the audience's perspective. It's really weird. I often say that basically, pretty much every single song that I've ever put out, well, that's not true. Like, most of the songs that I put onto the internet, somebody likes. And how do I know that they like it? Well, they comment on it, or they retweet it, or... I mean, that's the other thing. Like, the thing about figuring out whether my audience likes a song, whether you guys like a song or not, I mean, the ways that I kind of judge that is how many comments does it get, what kind of comments are there. I mean, comments are the best way, obviously, right? Because if you really like something and you comment on it, you say, this is an amazing song, I really like this, that's pretty clear. If you retweet it, or if you share it on Facebook, I mean, that to me means, that you liked it enough to want to share it, right? So that's my metric for judging whether a song is a good song or a bad song. So we have this idea of what's a good song and what's a bad song. So I thought in this segment what I'd do is generally go back and look at what I thought at the time was kind of a not very good song. Something I just threw together, and I, song number whatever, and I just kind of left it there and never really came back to it until one or two or three or more people say to me, hey, this song is awesome. So the song that I want to share with you is called End of the World Dance. And it's a song that, even now, I still don't really know if I particularly like. But what happened was that I visited New Zealand, and I met up with one of my fans, and his favorite song, James, hi James if you're listening, his favorite song was End of the World Dance. And this happens where I'll meet somebody who's a fan of my music, and their favorite song will be a song that I haven't thought about since I wrote it. And that's so weird to me. Like, there's ones that I know, and that'll be another thing we'll do in this segment in future episodes. I'll share songs that I think are my best. But it's so weird to me when I write the song and completely forget about it, and it's somebody's favorite song of mine. Or in their top 10 or whatever. It's just a strange phenomenon. So, that's just a really long-winded intro. Here we go. End of the World Dance. Let's listen. I dreamt that waves of empty parking lots were suddenly filled with blood. Out of rotting supermarkets, lines of dancing food. Kittens purred, a tornado stirred, and no one knew what to do. The rain was splashing down on the hoods of abandoned cars. A man with baggy jeans stood repeating the word retard. Lightning struck him. He became turducken, and no one knew what to do. It's the end of the world dance, the apocalyptic romance, when all the snowmen melt and the sun leaves gaping wells, and no one knows what to do. Dairy cows kill farmers, pigs eat human flesh. When asked if they enjoy it, they answer more or less. An explosion, a sigh, an archangel in the sky, and no one knew what to do. Jesus came and said, yep, it's all according to plan. 4 horsemen were there, singing songs written by Jonathan Mann. Aliens watched, sipping 20-year-old scotch, and no one knew what to do. It's the end of the world dance, the apocalyptic romance, when all the snowmen melt and the sun leaves gaping wells, and no one knows what to do. A pile of men was burning in the middle of the field. Another pile of men was using the first pile as a shield. Bitter, cold, thunder rolled, and no one knew what to do. Some hid under rocks, and some hid underground, as the ocean's rising tide and the waves began to pound. The sky fell, the earth swelled, and no one knew what to do. It's the end of the world dance, the apocalyptic romance, when all the snowmen melt and the sun leaves gaping welts, and no one knows what to do. Computers came to life and started taking over. I saw a man get sucked into a leaf blower. Sirens wailed, the internet failed, and no one knew what to do. Religious wars all ended, and everyone got along. The melody of Armageddon was their dying song. Horses neighed, the band played, and no one knew what to do. It's the end of the world dance, the apocalyptic romance, when all the snowmen melt and the sun leaves gaping welts, and no one knows what to do. Hell was filling up, and heaven overflowed. Neither of them were built to carry such a load. Out of space, the human race, and no one knew what to do. Bodies floated freely out among the stars. Wind turbines and hydrogen cells mixed with electric cars. Nowhere to go with your family in tow, and no one knew what to do. It's the end of the world dance, the apocalyptic romance, when all the snowmen melt and the sun leaves gaping welts, and no one knows what to do. Pumpkins and bananas fought on the steps of Capitol Hill. A police officer came up as his guts began to spill. Banana won, and he set off towards the sun, and no one knew what to do. Animals and machines started mating wildly. Mechanized rhinoceroses, to put it mildly. Robo-giraffe, mecha-hyena laugh, and no one knew what to do. It's the end of the world dance, the apocalyptic romance, when all the snowmen melt and the sun leaves gaping welts, and no one knows what to do. Well, I toiled in the bank vault, but my heart was in the storm. Though each limb was cold, my center was still warm. I felt her touch. She popped the clutch, and no one knew what to do. Riding in the back seat, I slept until I woke. The air was hot and stuffy, dark and filled with smoke. My home was gone. The road stretched on, and no one knew what to do. It's the end of the world dance, the apocalyptic romance, when all the snowmen melt and the sun leaves gaping welts, and no one knows what to do. So that's a pretty ridiculously long song. And I actually can remember exactly what went into writing that song, which is I sort of just had this skeletal outline of this music, and you hear the music just kind of repeats over and over and over again. The music is repeating, and so I had this like skeletal outline of this music with this chorus, and I remember thinking to myself, okay, I'm just gonna like force myself to write as many verses as possible. So literally, all this song was me sitting down, writing the skeletal outline of the song with this chorus, and saying, okay, sit down, write verse, another verse, another verse, another verse, another verse, and I just kept going and going, and like not thinking about it at all, like just whatever, literally whatever came to my mind. I mean, obviously it's this post-apocalyptic thing and end of the world, and weird things are happening, but I just kind of let it go, and I feel like there's some pretty good lines in there. I like the thing about a pile of men burning in the middle of a field. A second pile of men was using the first pile as a shield. I I don't know. That's kind of stupid, I guess, but for some reason that makes me laugh. The thing about the robotic animals. Where is that? Let's see here. The robotic animals. Animals and machines started mating wildly. Mechanized rhinoceroses, to put it mildly. Robo giraffe, mecha hyena laugh. I don't know. That stuff is really weird. But I like it, I guess. I mean, the song is I think to a certain kind of person it'd probably be really boring. Musically, there's not much going on. Musically, it's pretty drab. Which I think is something that happens in a lot of my songs. I spend way more time thinking about lyrics than I do about music.